Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of The Pulp, your go-to podcast for staying connected, informed, and inspired at work. I'm your host, Bob Gresh.
I'm Maddie Bonikowski.
And today we'll be taking a deep dive into our sustainability drive, the latest in automation and technology, and how we're customizing our products to really hit the mark for our customers. Later in the episode, we've got a special guest, David Beckett, who's been shaking things up with our Agile Scrum and innovation process. I think my first question is going to be, what is Agile Scrum?
I think that's a great first question.
I know I want to know. To start off the first segment, we're going to talk about sustainability, tech, and customization as a lead into that discussion with David. And to get prepared for that, we sent a series of questions to our President and CEO, Dan Curtin, our Coating Business Unit Outside Sales Rep, Brian Maraza, and our Coating Business President, Jeff Carew. We're going to summarize their answers in the interest of everyone's time today. So we'll get right into it. The first question that we sent along was, our organization is committed to reducing waste and embracing eco-friendly practices. Can you share an overview of our key sustainability initiatives? Maddie, what did Dan have to say?
So Dan said, we remain focused on paper, one of the most renewable resources available, to be our main solution for driving sustainability. Everything we do centers around paper.
Highly agree. I don't think that's going to change anytime in the future.
No. What did Brian say?
Brian said our core sustainability mission for commercial activities revolves around the elimination of plastic from packaging. We drive this through our Vireo Coatings, which are free from the 7 major plastics. When applied to paper-based packaging, our coatings ensure that packaging can be repulped, meaning it can be broken down and converted back into paper pulp. Interestingly enough, Brian had shared with us a press release from Trader Joe. They had to do a recall of their acai bowls due to a foreign plastic material that was found inside them. And while I am drawing a conclusion, I think it's a pretty safe conclusion that plastic ends up in those bowls based on the plastic packaging that's utilized along with them.
Right, yeah, and we've got a solution for that. So Trader Joe's, give us a call.
Give us a call, Trader Joe's, that's right. And what Jeff had to say?
So Jeff said, the whole focus of the Vireo Coating unit by design is to focus on fiber-based substrates paired with our poly-free coatings to take poly or plastic out of packaging. Whether this be in single-use plastics for food packaging, for fill and seal pouches or bags, or packaging for e-commerce.
That's a good point. I think a lot of our employees would be pleasantly surprised to see how many items in the supermarket this technology is applicable to.
Oh yeah, and we've got an episode coming up that'll be focused on Jeff, and he'll share some of our projects that we have going on in coating.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Looking forward to that. All right, so for the next question, we asked, how do our Vireo coatings, ream wrap, sandwich wrap, and straws play into our broader waste reduction strategy? That's another brief preview of an episode to come. In response to that question, Dan stated, recyclability of our barrier-coated papers reduces waste tremendously. Paper can be recycled up to 27 times to be reused. We were so excited about that particular fact, we shared it as a fun fact correction in our last episode. And to finish that off, and it can be made into new products. What did Brian have to say, Maddie?
Brian said, to eliminate waste, products must be reused. Traditional plastic can only be recycled 1 or 2 times before ending up in the landfill. So repulpable packaging, which combines paper and Vireo coatings, plays a crucial role in waste reduction by providing a viable alternative to traditional plastic packaging, effectively diverting waste from landfills.
That's important. I think ProCon employees are going to have a little bit of a step up on that differentiation between recyclability and repulpability. And as these types of coatings, with ProCon being the leader, but understanding there's going to be other individuals in the market, I think that those two terms and the difference between them is going to become a lot more common.
Yep, I agree.
Jeff stated, I wouldn't say this is necessarily focused on waste reduction. Rather, it is more focused on returning a renewable resource back into the value stream of our recyclable and repulpable coating solutions, providing products that can return fiber and be reborn into another consumer product.
Yeah, I would agree right with that. And just the plastic, you're reducing that landfill, you're able to reuse it more than that. So it is in part still waste reduction, but that recyclability, repulpability is really where that environmental focus comes in.
For sure. When we talk about that collection of plastic, remind me to bring that up again when we get to our fun fact.
Yes, yep.
I don't know how fun it turns out to be, but more of that to come.
I found it interesting.
It's definitely interesting. I don't know how fun. I don't want to ruin the surprise for anybody. We'll save that for the end. The next question that we had asked the group was, what challenges have we faced while implementing these sustainable initiatives, and how have we worked to overcome them? What did Dan have to say, Maddie?
Dan said the research and development process is very costly and time-consuming. Having the funding and the patience to continue the work to find the solutions for all the various paper-based products we're working on is challenging. So that's another reason why we have David Beckett coming on later in this episode. He's going to explain how we are choosing which projects to work on and the order, and he's got a whole framework for developing all of that and making sure we're staying on track and able to bring products to market.
Awesome. Very much looking forward to that discussion.
Yeah.
Brian stated, we've encountered two primary challenges: reaching brands and stakeholders who are at the forefront of sustainable packaging, and assisting interested parties in navigating the transition from plastic packaging to Vireo. To address these challenges, we are intensifying our efforts to promote the Vireo message across all possible channels, ensuring we connect with those individuals dedicated to eliminating plastic from packaging, like Dolia, whom we will have on in a future episode. We also recognize change can be daunting. Our coatings are formulated to function as a drop-in replacement for plastic, and we offer a comprehensive turnkey solution that includes coatings, papers, and coaters.
Jeff said, of course, one of the more challenging hurdles to overcome is the price of the package and messaging associated with it. Plastic has had a long runway to drive efficiency and cost to market, and it obviously performs well. That's why it will still be in our environment in 100 plus years to come. So that's why we need to find alternatives.
For sure. I mean, it's like anything else. You do get what you pay for.
Right.
You know, you can eat McDonald's every day, and it's not good for you. Just like you can keep using those plastic products, but it's not going to be, good for sustainability.
Right.
A few more. What changes do we see coming in the future at ProCon in terms of technology advancements? Dan stated that more investments in automation, bigger, faster, and more efficient coaters and printing presses will reduce waste significantly, as well as reduce the energy required to coat and print the paper. We also plan to vertically integrate ourselves with packaging companies to reduce the amount of transportation required to move the product from one manufacturing facility to another for all the various processes required to produce the finished package. We need to do more of that work all under one roof. An example of that's actually our Falcon sheeter here in Appleton, which is another preview to our next episode, where we're going to be having Casey from BW Paper Systems on to tell us about the revolutionary Falcon sheeter.
I'm excited for that episode. I know we have the Falcon sheeter here in Appleton, but hearing more about the technology that it has and how that's going to move us into the future is exciting.
Absolutely. All of our upcoming guests, it's like we have our own little version of how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian said, in the realm of coatings, we're particularly interested in enhancing compatibility across a broad spectrum of paper. Leveraging our long-standing relationships with paper mills in North America and Europe, we are working to identify the most effective Vireo coatings for specific papers, enabling us to minimize the need for trial work. This objective is pursued through our ongoing research and development endeavors.
Excellent. And Jeff stated that specifically in coating, renewable chemistries, bigger, wider, and faster coaters.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. Get those paper straws out to you sooner than later.
I can't wait to try some more of those out. We then ask and we discuss specific examples where technology has significantly improved quality or efficiency in our operations.
Dan said, we are in the early stages of automation, but some of the robots currently in our facilities and several new ones that will be implemented in 2025 will move us in the direction we need to go to achieve our goals. One that you might be familiar with if you're in the Appleton location is in our box line area. The Q-Comp robot that we lovingly call Arnold has been in place, and he's our palletizer robot. So he makes that part of the production process for our box line area that much more efficient and faster, able to stack those pallets.
His co-workers gave him a name, so he's just another part of the team.
He is. He's referenced frequently out on the floor.
Jeff stated there has been a constant focus, refinement, and improvement of our coating technologies to improve performance or cost or runnability on our lines.
Excellent.
Next question we posed was, how do you see our technology investments supporting our ability to rapidly customize products for our customers?
Dan said, our IT department is working diligently to make certain we integrate our people and the equipment in the most effective way so we can utilize our employees' time at work in the best way possible.
Absolutely. We've been talking to a lot of different vendors about different ways that we can integrate our systems, remove manual processes, and hopefully make the overall employee experience more friendly for all of our employees. So plenty more on that to come throughout 2025 and into 2026.
What did Jeff have to say about that one?
He said that ProCon's strength has been our ability to respond quickly to our customers' needs, and this holds true in coding. They bring us a problem, and with our unique technology, we provide them with a solution. And I think that's always been ProCon's strength, is just the ability to produce results that customers ask us for.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
We then did ask if there was anything anyone else wanted to add. And Dan shared that our current model of being closer to the customers that need the product we produce than the paper mills is a very important component of the value we bring. Mill shipping by rail car to our facilities where we then produce the orders, which are usually in smaller quantities for regional delivery, is the most efficient way to get the finished product where it's needed. And I think that ties into the answer that he gave regarding kind of the future in terms of technology advancement, in that we're trying to not only provide sustainable solutions through the Vireo coatings that we're producing, but having that one-stop shop, that one place that removes the carbon footprint of let's produce it here and ship it elsewhere to be converted, to be shipped elsewhere to be coated. We're moving towards being that one-stop shop, and I think that's really important for our future.
Yeah, absolutely. And just also even having our different locations across the U.S. is a huge help in that. And I think a big draw for our customers is that we are nationwide and can reduce our footprint by taking orders in different locations and closer to them.
Excellent. I think I see our guest coming up. So we will take a brief pause or edit while we allow David Beckett to come in, and we'll get started on segment 2.
Sounds great.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to our second segment of episode 3 of The Pulp. We'd like to welcome David Beckett.
Hi there. Great to be here.
Nice to meet you. Who's going to be talking to us about all of the innovative things that we're doing within our coating business unit.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, why don't we start off, David? Just sort of introduce yourself and what you've been doing for ProCon.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. So, hi, David Beckett, originally from Ireland, but have just returned to Ireland after nearly 10 years working over here in the US. That's basically after a kind of a 30-year career in and around paper for a number of different companies. Kimberly-Clark originally brought me to the Valley, but you can kind of, my joke is you can cut me and I bleed fiber. Because basically since 16 I've been making paper or doing something with paper, or fibers or whatever else.
Fit right in the Valley then.
Yeah, oh my goodness, I didn't realize it even existed, and so it was great to finally come and kind of come to the home of it from that point of view. But kind of 10 years in kind of manufacturing, and then my boss kind of at the time said, you always want to know what's going to come next. How about you go and spend some time in R&D? And that was a fantastic opportunity. So that brought me to the US for the first time to really get into how we are going to bring the next generation of products to life. And since then, I've had a really I've just retired from there, 33 years in total, but 23 always in innovation. Always, what are we going to do next? How can we make something better? How can we actually bring it forward? So that's really what's been my passion. And so when I got to know ProCon as an organization, I just said, oh my goodness, you're at such a pivotal point. Really capturing all of these ideas and bringing them to life. My favorite kind of quote I learned early in the process of what is innovation is bringing valuable ideas to life. And you're going valuable, they're going to be profitable, they're going to bring you growth, but bring them to life, because ideas can float around. The thing is to capture them, choose them and actually make them happen. And I'm just so excited to sort of share what I've learned from other companies beforehand, other projects, and then hopefully bring it to life for ProCon, as there are so many fantastic ideas coming through at the moment. And I'd just love to help capture those bubbles of ideas and bring them through into the next level of growth.
That's awesome, and we're excited to learn about it.
Yeah,
Thanks
cool.
so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So one thing I promised our audience, when we introduced you at the start of the episode, we mentioned Agile Scrum.
Oh, yes.
Tell us what that is.
Fantastic. So it's a case of, it's a way of running projects. It's a way of choosing projects, a way of running projects. And literally it's the two words brought to life. Agile, do it quickly. Make sure you're light on your feet. We've all had times when we sort of look at bringing something to life and we want it to be perfect, and we kind of analyze everything, and then we spend a little bit more time analyzing that element, and you take a really long time to do it. Agile's about actually saying, hey, time out. How can we get it going as fast as we can? So that's the Agile piece, is really sort of saying, don't stress the perfection, stress getting it done. Because we've all done it. You think you know what the other person wants. How many conversations have you had where you turn around and say, oh great, I'll go get that for you, and you bring it back and they kind of go, and you can tell from their expression that you haven't quite reached what they wanted. And they're probably sometimes too polite to tell you. Or, again, our customers will turn around and go, well, that's not what I wanted. Yeah. Agile's about actually making sure that you break it up into small pieces and get them to the customer as fast as you can, because they should be the ones telling you whether it's right or not. So Agile is quickly get something to them that they can use, and then they can give you feedback on. So the goal is always to create what we call the minimum viable product.
Okay.
So it's actually something that just says, yeah, did you want it to be round or square? Oh, well, actually, no, I wanted it to be a triangle. Oh, okay, great. Okay, I'll be back. And you bring them back the triangle, and they go, okay, but I wanted it to be purple. No, I didn't. Well, I said, well, you said it was kind of reddish. Okay, no, I actually wanted it to be purple. And it just by constantly always saying, hey, just the next increment so that I can literally do it, rather than kind of waiting till you got this beautiful thing all wrapped up in a bow ready to go.
And if I'm not mistaken, that acronym would be MVP, which is pretty fitting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the Agile part of it.
Okay.
Don't stress it, get it through. And then Scrum is just get the right group of people together. Sometimes we do things by committee, we do things by waiting time. No, in Scrum, I want a multifunctional team, so I want all the disciplines involved, because we're going to go fast, so I promise not to waste any of your time, but get all of the disciplines together. Scrum, get them into a small group, literally a huddle. Again, you can take the sports side of it, you can just take the visual side of it. But by getting that multifunctional team together, you quickly go, oh, that's not what I heard. And so you again get the power of all of the different functions telling you where that's going to be. And you meet regularly and you move it along. And
that sounds great. Sounds like a really efficient way to get focused collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably for me, this is maybe 12th time I've actually run it, because it's a case of I took towards sort of the last big things I was doing was really trying to make the organization go faster, and it was stepping back and going, hey, we're stressing the perfection, we're stressing the whatever else. What are we going to do? Right. But inside those 12 projects, I would say every single one of them, you had an estimate that was probably 3 times longer for how long that project should have taken versus what it actually took when you got Agile.
Okay.
Wow.
It's been fantastic, because it's a case of, again, I'd love you to help me spread the word on this. My goal is 3, 5, 15, that everybody kind of comes in
3,
and says
5, 15.
3, 15. Yeah, and that's good because they multiply on each other.
Oh, understood.
The goal is, if you say you're going to do 3 things, you'll probably finish 3 things. It's almost like a global truth. If you say you're going to do 5 things, you've all done this kind of in the weekend, in the garden, in the whatever else, in the garage, trying to fix something. Set out to do 5, you'll probably do 3 as well. You'll actually finish. The other 2 might get started a little bit, but they won't be finished.
Okay.
And then if you say you're going to fit 15 things, you kind of bring out that wonderful laundry list of all the things. You'll get none of them done. You won't finish any of them because you'll be just dotting around from place to place, moving this a bit forward, moving this a bit forward. And suddenly you'll find you've maybe looked at 15 things, but none of them are finished.
Right.
So, and then back to the agile bit. Can the customer do anything with something that's not finished? No, they can't.
Sure.
So you bring the 2 pieces together, and I love 3, 5, and 15 as being the way to do that. One, because they multiply to each other. If you allow, you can do 3 projects, and you do that 5 times, you'll get 15 things done.
Sure. I'm picturing my own daily priority list, and I think I need to apply this in my own life.
Yeah, there are days when I wish I could just like write it on the back of my hand, because I'm learning,
Sure.
I'm getting better at it, but I don't practice it every day. But when you can, and it's very frightening when you step out and you say, I'm only going to do 3 things today, but that sounds really inefficient. That sounds terrible. I'm not going to make any progress. But suddenly those 3 things are done. And what are you? You're on to the next 3 things. And suddenly you find out that you've done it. And that's generally why so many of these projects, by going through Agile Scrum, find themselves in a place where, but we've got all of these things out there.
For sure.
And start getting some real feedback. So that's the exciting thing. Because
recognizing that
so many brilliant ideas, let's make them happen.
Absolutely.
But if we try and grab them all and bring them down, nah, you just spend your whole time kind of running around after the 15.
I'm going to repeat it for our viewers since I said the wrong number the first time. 3, 5, 15. That's that rule.
Super, thank you. Yes.
So that was actually a great lead into our first scripted question of the conversation here. So tell us about how that Agile Scrum and that rule of 3, 5, 15, how does the innovation funnel concept come into play?
Yeah, fantastic. So many companies find themselves with they've got a range of products, and they then say, and then I'll have the next one, and then I'll have the next one. And what you find is that it's actually a world where some of those ideas you had for the future, they die on the vine. They're not actually ready. So the funnel is all about spend some of your time filling the funnel, have lots of ideas, because they won't all work. They just won't all come to fruition. So again, spend some time on those, make sure you've got enough ideas, but quickly get them down to the next level. So again, the funnel sort of going, okay, I've had my ideas, that was lovely and creative, and we've done all of these things, and we got all of these great ideas. Let's move them forward a next bit and see which ones I can actually make money out of, I actually know how to make, and actually all of my team know how to make. Sure. So again, we take it through the next part of the funnel. We sort of filter it down by saying, so again, some of the reason for filter and funnel, they come together. It's really just bringing it down. And then ultimately you take it to the last level where it's ready to go, and it's a nice pipeline of where it's going. So you go through that idea phase, you then go through a kind of a selection, and we test it a bit further. Right. I love to sort of say that we build it the first time it's just going to be a piece of paper. So you can have lots of pieces of paper of all of these ideas. The next time you start needing to actually have something, probably just if you're in the lab, it's your first beaker. If you're by the machine, you may have one piece of paper. Sure. Was this kind of where you were thinking? Does it feel like this? Does it whatever? Then you make more of it so that actually somebody could say, oh, yeah, it actually works. It works at this speed. And this is what's been amazing at Vireo. When you go in and you see the 3 lines beside each other, and every day you will actually watch I've gone from over in the lab, sure. There's Katie doing this, it's this much, it's in a beaker, well now we've put it into a drum and it's going onto the line. But you're running maybe the line not at that full speed yet. Well, that's that middle phase. Then you take it to the next one, you say, this is what the customer wants. You've agile delivered them quickly enough for them to go and test it, for example. You get it to the next level, and then they go, you need to refine it. Okay, good. It goes back to the beginning of the funnel or whatever coming through. And you quickly come through. So that's why we talk about the innovation funnel, getting it from lots of these imperfect ideas through, and again, in bite-sized chunks, bring them down in size until they're ready to scale up. NASA introduced the idea of technical readiness first. Okay. They sort of said, you will have an idea and you'll work it all the way through to execution. What they learned along the way was basically the sometimes you talk about them too soon. So you're up at the idea stage. I've had this amazing idea for this new rocket fuel that will do X, Y, and Z. And then you sort of say, well, that's brilliant because we really need that and we need it now. And so could you bring it to me? And they had examples where people would come and says, I have a beaker full. This fuel is amazing. It's like 100 times more powerful than the other one. But yeah, you've seen it. So bunny hops on the launch pad rather than actually being ready. And again, so going through the funnel, then you work out how to go from beaker to bigger scale that you're trying it, to bigger scale where your customer is trying it, and then bigger scale where they may be trying it with theirs, and then you're ready to launch.
You only frustrate that customer base otherwise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Great product, but can't have
it's
it.
a case of why did you tell me about that? Because you're not ready. And then we learn how to use that language to sort of say, hey, are we ready? And it'll be at a different stage in the funnel if it's more ready. Go tell the world this one's ready. Or go tell your close friends about this one because now they can experiment with it. And they'll give you feedback. And it's, at each step in the funnel, then you have a different scale of the people you talk to about.
Excellent. I love the way that all these concepts we're talking about just directly tie into each other. And I guess that's a nice lead into the next portion.
Oh, great.
So,
Okay, cool.
So I've heard about the steps and gates project management framework.
Fantastic.
So
okay.
How do we use that to prioritize our projects?
Yeah, no, that's great because it's basically about setting out a hurdle to go between those different levels and also starting to select the ones that should really get your focus. So that's where it's a great partner between the funnel and Agile.
Okay.
Because it's about saying, hey, which is worth the most, is the most ready, is the kind of the biggest prize coming through and the organization. Well, I'm going to make that one much more high on my list of priorities.
Sure. Okay.
Because we all see beautiful, shiny ideas that, I'd love to do this. Mm-hmm. Okay, but is it worth it? Is it ready? Is it whatever else? So Steps and Gates gives you a chance to say, even from the idea stage, which are the ideas most ready to do it? So you have your first gate that helps you come out of that idea stage. And then you have a next gate that takes you out of, I've done a bit of investigating and these trials have gone well, these trials have run poorly. Okay, let's take those ones that went well and we'll move them to the next day. So you have kind of just having those little gates and you ask yourself more rigid questions as you go through each one. Okay. So the first time you might go through and say, hey, how big is the market for this? And then you'll go, oh, that's good because I'm measuring it against this product that says the market is $100 million for this. The market for this is $1 million. Well, straight away you've got, well, let's just go look at this idea first.
Right.
You come to the next one, market size. Now I want to know, it's a case of how much of that market are we going to get?
For sure.
Because you didn't know back then, you just knew that there were markets out there.
Right.
Now you're sort of saying, okay, where can I reach? You know, how? Okay, but you now start able to filter them when you've got a bit further, and then you come to the next one and say, okay, I now need to know what your volume forecast is going to be. So by then you should have talked to a customer. You would know how much that's going to be, and then the last one says, have you got a price? Have you got a volume? Have you got a date? Have you got a whatever? And each gate then comes with the same question, but at a finer level of detail with a higher expectation and a bigger hurdle to get through the gate. It's a bit more granular. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But it sort of doesn't, it tries to sort of scale it for each stage in the innovation funnel.
Oh, excellent. So tying it to what we're doing with ProCon, how have these agile methodologies helped ProCon innovate faster and align our projects with the growth goals of Vireo and the organization?
Yeah, fantastic. So I feel you're catching kind of the team at a good time because we set out on running our first sprint, our first set of sprints. Sprints are the names for the little, because we actually take little pockets of time so that you don't say, you've picked this wonderful project and you expect it to be wonderful throughout from one gate to the other. Actually, Agile then says, no, you've got 2 weeks. Go away and tell me what you can learn in 2 weeks. And you have to step back and say, if I want to keep this moving, what am I going to get done in the next 2 weeks? It's
a healthy pressure.
A healthy pressure.
Yeah.
And it also just, back to the 3-5-15, if I've told you you've got to be back in 2 weeks, you're more likely to pick the 3 things that you can get done in that week. And then as a team, you sit down and go, yeah, but they're not the 3 things that I needed. And you kind of exchange that and you learn from each other. Say, these are the most valuable 3 things each of us could bring to the table in the next 2 weeks. So what we do then is, I think we today actually achieved, we've been through 4 sprints of 2 weeks on 1 project, and it's good to go. So maybe, again, if I'm allowed to leave questions for others, is that would say, how long did you think that was going to take? Because everybody I've spoken to so far has sort of said, yeah, I definitely thought it was going to be about 3 times longer than that to be at this phase, because the team, oh my goodness.
But it's this whole process that allows it.
Yeah, it's just
to break that
kind of
expectation.
it's like, yeah, brilliant idea, hold that thought, but is it necessary for the minimum viable product? Because until we get to that minimum viable, that's the thing that's going to go out the door. And when it goes out the door, money comes in the door. So it's back in the mailbox. Maybe I'm get my analogies right, but you know what I mean.
That's really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, literally today we were sort of, I was going to say we'd celebrated, but I think we were like going, it really happened. It's
It
just
works.
happened.
That is
it's
so
just
cool.
4 sprints and we have a minimum viable product.
Well, I know we're really happy to have you working with us, David. And I mean, everything that you've just shared, how do you see that impacting our approach to managing and executing innovation projects over the coming months? What's
Yeah, so actually
next?
the team is going to as already kind of bringing forward the ideas for the next sprint. Because again, we kind of proved it. So now actually, as we'll go back and we say, we think this is the next project that's ready to go through. And then hopefully we will do the same thing. We'll deliver that in a third of the time that people thought it was going to be. And there'll be something out there selling. Because again, what's been just so wonderful for me is to come in and meet this amazing group of people who've created this incredible selection of ideas. I'm inspired on so many levels. Everything from the fact it's a new business in a company and actually bringing that to life. It's kind of a new team trying to bring it to life. It's also actually bringing something new to the world. Plastics are used for so much. The contribution that can come from Vireo has so many different ways to actually impact it. And the great thing is that meant the start of the funnel is enormous. It was terrifying the first time I looked at all the ideas that were going to actually be. Yeah. But you use the funnel to bring it down, and quickly the leadership team came back and said, well, we'll do that one first then. Yeah. And here we are. As a kind of, in that 8 weeks, it's got a minimum viable product. So, and I can't wait to do it for the rest of them, because then I hope everybody will feel that they're sort of going, yeah, but that's something we're selling that we weren't selling
for sure
a month ago.
Yeah.
And we'll just keep building onto that as we come through.
Really exciting stuff. I think we'll have to make note to bring you back in a few months.
Oh, yes, please.
And do an update.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Sounds like a great, bright future for Vireo.
I really think, because it's a case of you've just got, I feel grateful to be part of a team that has all of those ideas, all of that potential. Yeah. And now if I can just help actually organize it a bit, drive it a bit, and all of those things coming together. And then, I hope with things like 3, 5, 15, people will kind of go, oh, wait a second, with minimum viable product.
For sure.
Because, again, it just stops the perfection creeping in to kill the good. And the customer can tell you if it's good or not.
That's applicable in business and life.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, back to write it on my hand, so I actually do it tonight.
I'm going to go off script one last time because I've been listening to your wonderful accent. We're here in mid-March. Are you going to be in the States for St. Patrick's Day, or what are your plans?
Yes, exactly. So it's a case of, it was just such an opportunity to come over. I must admit, although I thought I'd seen the team and got to know it, it wasn't worth coming just for like 1 week and seeing where we were. I'm here for 2 weeks. And I will say, even, Irish born and bred also say the US does St. Patrick's Day on a whole other scale.
It is a whole other level.
It is a way bigger level. So it's so much fun to be back around for Patrick's Day.
It is fun. Yeah. I have to give a little shout out to our Hazelton division. The country's largest St. Patrick's Day parade is in a city right near Hazelton in Scranton, PA.
Oh, fantastic.
A lot of Irish ethnicity in that area.
Oh, that's because the US knows how to do it best, awesome. I think, from that point of view. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing all all that.
Fantastic.
David, thank you so much for joining us. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, great. I've
interview.
loved it. Yeah, so I hope you can, I hope you can find something in there.
And you have to make a trip back to the States just for the Pulp next time around.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure enough projects have launched that we'll be able to turn around and say, there you are, you just have to tell the world about how many new things are on the ground since then.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much again, David.
Excellent. That's
Yes,
great.
thank you, David.
Thank you. That's awesome. Have a great afternoon. That's great.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Thanks again for joining us for episode 3 of The Pulp, and we want to make sure to thank David Beckett again for that insightful conversation.
Traveling all the way from Ireland just for our podcast. Pretty
How about
exciting.
that's prioritizing ProCon for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, goodness. Well, as we have shared in our previous episodes, we are looking to share a fun fact at the end of each episode. So we alluded to this a little bit earlier. Today's fun fact you might not find as fun as you do interesting, and it plays into the importance of what we're doing as a company. So today's fun fact is that in findings published recently in the Nature Medicine Journal, it was found that as a result of consumption of microplastics, the average human right now has enough microplastic in their brain to form a plastic spoon.
That is so hard to visualize. I mean, you think of a plastic spoon, that's not small.
All right. Well, when I first read it, my thought was like a spoonful, and that's a lot.
Yeah, no.
But if you can make a plastic spoon out of the microplastics in the brain, again, all the more reason for all of those potential customers that we're talking to take a good hard look at Vireo Coatings.
Yep, contact Jeff Carew.
Absolutely, absolutely. We also want to make mention that we'll be speaking to March Madness in our episode on March 28th. We are going to be sharing a QR code that links to a survey on Monday the 17th. It will have questions related to March Madness that we will share the answers to and discuss during the episode on the 28th. Answers to those survey questions must be submitted by end of day on March 20th. In order to be reviewed and considered for that episode.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm curious to see with our various locations, who they think is going to win it all or be the biggest upset so pay attention, Selection Sunday this coming weekend.
Absolutely. And as so often holds true, I would not be surprised if the person that tells us they know nothing about basketball is the one that wins their family, office, whatever pool they may participate in.
Yes, yep.
That's always how it works. So before we wrap up, just want to say again, it feels great to be pushing boundaries in so many different ways within our industry. We're not just adapting to the future, we're trying to actively shape it. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. And until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and
Keep making ProCon great.